Now we have to look at City because what's happening is pretty big. Jack Grealish is pretty much certain. We're recording this, Mark, on Thursday morning. We expect maybe that he would come to Manchester for a medical today on Thursday later, and then might even be available for the weekend, who knows. And then there's Harry Kane. Where do we all stand?
Well, Grealish, I think that will happen pretty soon. There's an outside chance it'll be done before the Community Shield. Whether he plays or is in the squad, maybe a bit too early because clubs like to get the players in just to get them, up to speed. But I think that'll be done. That's the easiest one to do. I think City have known for a while that Grealish will happen. I think even Villa have known.
Yeah.
They brought Buendia in weeks ago now, so that deal has been as good as done. It's been oven ready, as somebody might say, for a while now. Harry Kane is still in the freezer. Let's be honest.
Well, I'm not sure it's that cold in Florida
no,
way.
No, but the deal is. The problem with Harry Kane is that both clubs have got a massive difference in valuation right now, and for all Harry Kane is saying about, well, he's not saying anything, but we know that he wants to go and he wants Spurs to let him go. If Spurs aren't given an offer that matches their valuation, then Spurs are well within their rights to say, no, get back to training, you're playing for us. Until City step up with the offer that is even close to £160 million, they're not going to get him. And I think on this occasion, I sympathise with Daniel Levy that if you've got a player that's got 3 years left on his contract that wants to leave, then he leaves on your terms.
Yeah, but that's fine. But if you're City, and Chiki Begaristan is a very intelligent guy, same as Pep Guardiola and people at that club, if you value Jack Grealish at £100 million, which is what they're paying for him, surely if Grealish is worth the £100 million that you're paying for him, 100% that Harry Kane is worth the 150, 60, that Spurs wrong, right? So why would you try to get Kane not at his value on a discount when you clearly paid full value? Some would even say over the price, the right price for Grealish. Yeah. If you see what I mean, if you leave, you're saying, hang on, you've just paid 100 million for Grealish. You can't offer us less than 150 for Kane, who is by far a much better and more important player than Grealish.
I take your point, but I don't think Kane's worth 160 million pounds. But equally, I think.
But if Grealish is worth 100, Kane is worth 150.
Grealish is 25, and Kane is 28, and he's had injuries in the last 2-3 years. And I don't think he had a great Euros. I think he scored goals, but I don't think he had a great Euros in the sense that he dominated defenders. He had a tough time, so he's not coming off the best of Euros in terms of what he did away from scoring goals. But look, it's Harry Kane, he scores loads of goals, but I don't think in the current climate he's worth £160 million. So I agree with City in that he's not worth that, especially at his age. But equally, if you're Tottenham, he scores all the goals, he's your main player, he's your talisman, then why shouldn't you hang out for a fee that reflects the length of his contract? It's Harry Kane's fault that he signed a 6-year deal in 2018, and that is a problem that he and City have got to find a way out of. And ultimately, as we know, a compromise will be reached, whether it's money or whether it's players as part exchange. But for me, Daniel Levy is playing the game of putting a really high figure on Kane because City really need him, and he scores lots of goals. But let's be honest, he's not worth £160 million in the current market. So
not long ago, Pep Guardiola was telling us that they could not afford a £100 million player, that they didn't have that money. They must have found it somewhere, buried in a garden or under the mattress, I guess.
Let's break it down. So City will sell players. They will probably get in £100 million this summer if they can get rid of people that,
Bernardo Silva and people like that.
Silva, maybe Riyad Mahrez, maybe Raheem Sterling. But again, I don't see a club having the money to buy Sterling this year. But if we take away the transfers, City would have made a lot of money by getting to the Champions League final last season. Yeah. They won the Premier League, again, a lot. That's in excess of £150 million. Yeah. So in terms of prize money, sponsorship, that covers Kane, I think. And the money that they raise by sales will cover Grealish, basically, and a few, bit of economical moving around. But I do think that Pep is right, that they can't just go like that and get £160 million. But if you look at where the money comes from, they can. But then if you talk about it that way, you're not really covering the fact that money that is coming in from last season has to pay wages for Kevin De Bruyne, his new contract.
Yeah.
£400,000 a week. He's probably
Kane would be that wages.
Yeah,
it would be the same wages.
It's not just about the fee, is it? It's about the wages that it brings in. The
bonuses. Yeah, no, of course.
City's wage bill, as we saw last season, was bigger than any other Premier League club in a pandemic. So I think it was over £350 million. So City have got a lot of outgoings, and they have to cover it somewhere. So they have to sell players. But it is interesting that a lot of clubs are struggling at the minute to bring players in. Liverpool have made just one signing. Canate triggered his escape clause. Tottenham haven't really done any business. Chelsea haven't done anything yet. City and Man United are just spending money, like a fashion.
So that means we can't always believe what Pep Guardiola says, I guess. But what's important as well is that financial fair play. If you ever believe that it actually existed, to be fair, that's a good point. We know that this summer and maybe even next summer is, let's say, pour on pause, right? And I think if there's one summer where you look at things and you say, okay, if there's one summer where we can buy those players for that kind of money, it has to be this one, right?
Yeah. FFP's taken a year off, hasn't it? It's on a beach somewhere.
It's a pandemic for FFP.
Absolutely, yeah. Which is why I'm surprised that nobody's made a more serious bid for Haaland, because we know that next year his escape clause or his release clause will kick in around about £66 million. So Dortmund know that in a year's time they can get £66 million for him. If some club bids 160 Kane money for Haaland, then Dortmund can't turn that down. They really can't.
I completely agree with you.
What would you rather do? Would you rather spend £160 million on Harry Kane or Erling Haaland? The long-term investment says Haaland.
Yeah.
The instant kind of Premier League ready player says Kane. So,
but I think if Pep Guardiola wants to win the Champions League, which is the dream, he's got more chances to do it probably with Kane on a short term than on Haaland, who will have to get used to the league, to the style of football and things like this.
Yeah, I mean Haaland's a different debate whether he's a pet player, but Kane for me, it's a bit similar to when United signed Van Persie. He's a player that his best years might be behind him, but he's still got 2-3 really good years left in him. Yeah. You have to pay a premium for that. But look what Van Persie delivered for Man United. He delivered the holy grail of that 13th title for Ferguson, the 20th league title. If Kane can be the man that signs, that brings the Champions League to City, it's worth it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you've got to pay over the odds to get something really big, and that's what might happen.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.